The National Marine Life Center has a threefold mission. The first and our core mission is marine animal rehabilitation. Right now we have permanent facilities to take care of sea turtles and seals. And the second part of our mission is science, so we use the opportunity of the animals coming through our facility to learn what they're telling us about the ocean. And then the third part of our mission is education. Cape Cod is a real stranding hotspot for a lot of species, and in part that's because of the great habitat we have here, the fact that it's sort of a mixing area for northern and southern species. So we get sea turtle strandings every fall and winter here on Cape Cod, and these are generally juvenile turtles, and they're animals that are only somewhere between 2 to 5 years old is the normal estimate. And what happens, most of the species are Kemp's Ridley turtles, which is the most endangered sea turtle in the world. And there are, at one point, there were fewer than 1,000 nesting females, although that number has since increased, thankfully, in part thanks to efforts like rehabilitation and release. The Kemp's Ridley turtle hatches on one beach in Mexico, Rancho Nuevo. Scientists are starting to establish a nesting beach in Texas as well. But what happens with those little hatchlings is if they survive, they get into the warm ocean currents like the Gulf Stream. And then every year, some amount of them are in the Gulf Stream and they spin off into Cape Cod Bay. When we bring a turtle in, our admission process is like with any other animal. We first do a thorough body check. We take a complete set of measurements. Then we set up a treatment plan. When they first come in, they haven't been eating the food, and their eating pattern and whether or not they eat is often a first indication of whether or not there's something going on. The turtles are still in pretty critical condition, so it means we have to be extra careful and cautious in preparing the food. We make sure that they don't have any large bones or anything while they're still so small and fairly weak, while their systems are still weak. So we remove the beak and the pen from the squid, and we make sure that the fillets have as few bones as possible, ideally none. Then the feed will involve, we have to count how many pieces of each animal eats. 50 fillet. When you have 15 turtles in a tank, it can get pretty busy as far as who's eating what. So one person is the data recorder, one person is the primary feeder, and then we might have a third person who's a spotter on the other side of the pool, and that person may or may not also take handfuls of food over to feed from the other side of the pool if there are turtles that won't come to the feeding station.